Hello, I'm Kat Curry-Williams.
And I'm Robin Radin.
And this is Wine, Women, and Chocolate Podcast. Welcome.
And today we are thrilled because with us we have Rita Boccuzzi. She is a financial expert. She is a money coach. She is a renowned speaker. And mostly she helps women empower themselves by gaining control of their wallet. Please welcome Rita Boccuzzi.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here. So wonderful to see the two of you.
We're so happy to have you.
Cheers.
Talk about money.
Cheers. That's right.
Wine, Women, and I
money.
met you and Wealth. Wine, Women, and Wealth. And we were Wine, Women, and Chocolate. And I met you at a little conference that I was doing at Wine, Women. And then we're like, okay, come on, Rita.
Wine, Women, and Chocolate. Wine, Women, and Wealth.
Right.
So, tell us everything.
Yes.
Everything we need
Ready
to know.
to go.
In 20 seconds. 20 minutes.
Let's start we don't have to start at the beginning, but what made you say, I want to focus on women specifically and wealth management?
Oh, okay. So that's pretty easy, being a woman entrepreneur and business owner myself. But really what started it, originally, I actually had wanted to teach young adults, right? Because that's the time for us to learn so that really we can maximize everything. However, I was the hangout house, right, with my kids. And I was talking to the kids about it. They'd go home. My friends would be like, wow, whatever you're saying to them is amazing. And just keep doing it. But then the kids would go home and the parents would be like, especially the moms, like, we don't know everything that you're telling our kids.
Our kids are getting more advanced than we are about money. This is wrong.
And so for me, it was, the shift had to be that I got to tell the moms, right, the women, and particularly women in business, because my focus is we as moms and we as women tend to share everything that's amazing, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to share with our family. If we're business owners, we're sharing with our employees, and that's where most of the impact happens. So it really only made sense to really start with the women because it takes a village, and usually it's the mamas in the villages that are sharing and teaching and educating. So that's really simplistically how it started. Also, as a mom, like 11 years ago, I became a cancer survivor.
Oh, wow.
And when I got cancer, our family got financial cancer. And most families do.
Right.
The statistics, sometimes statistics are boring, but sometimes they're shocking too. At that time, it was about over 53% of all bankruptcies every year are due solely to medical related issues.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was furious that as a mom, as a parent, you would have to go through something like that. And you think you have no way to protect yourself from it. But I had been researching about something called living benefits that would protect families from it. But I was actually, I'm going to say straddling. I was just emerging into my field of finance and studying it because I wanted to teach my kids. My mom didn't teach me, right? Mm-hmm. So what ended up happening is I realized that most parents don't know how to teach. But wealthy people, they start talking to their kids about this stuff like it's nothing. When they're 5 years old, they learn simple principles like compound interest, and some people in their 50s don't even know. I didn't even know till my 40s what that is, right? These principles and things.
I did see a video when you were talking about interest and so on. I was like, oh, wow, that is a whole, you really, you get around and you talk about it a lot, and you talk about it where someone can understand.
Right, because it gets to be fun and it gets to be simplistic. I mean, I was a B+, C+ student, but I had to study really hard. My parents were immigrants from Italy, and Italian and English were predominantly spoken in the house, so I struggled a little bit. And I had to put a lot of extra effort to create that shift and change. And so one of the things I realized as I've been going on in this journey with money, learning about money, it's kind of like learning a new job. The reality is, that's all it is. It's just learning and it's repetition. And then once you get to do it and learn it, the repetition, it becomes the same over and over again, just like anything else. I'm going to say in the past, really financial professionals, they had to be the professional. I'm going to say it was very ego-driven. Even to today, we're about 90% male-dominated in the financial arena, which is a lot for 2022.
It is crazy, and unfortunately, I'm one of 4 girls, so I know a lot of sisters, women conversations. So multiply that. Shocking how many women do not have any say over their finances. They don't. I'm like, well, what is it when you pay the bills? Well, I don't do that at all, and then I don't know about what to do now that my husband is either not here with us or something. And it's awful. It really is awful, because you're talking about now maybe a 60-year-old woman having to go to 101. In a male-dominated world, it's uncomfortable already with so much. There's grief, like you said. Also, there's medical stuff. Like, it's too much information. But I think, I use the word 101 because you teach a 101, which at least helps someone at that stage of their life.
Yeah, I like to call it "It's No Secret to Be Wealthy 101." Because it is no secret to be wealthy, and it's just conversations. That's really where, just like anything else, when we're raising our children and we're teaching them to speak in the words that they use. Well, just like you learn another language, you can learn the money language. And important, because money is in every aspect of our lives, whether we want it to be or not. It is the reality of our world today. And what we want is to be in leadership of it, not it leading us.
100%.
Yeah.
And I really, truly believe that we can turn that around. I mean, one of my big, we should be dreaming, first of all. Like, we weren't taught to do that in school. So I like to look at a holistic approach of
I see
mindset.
that's your holistic transformational approach, which is, I want to hear what that equals, like what's in a few senses of how would that look different than your male counterpart teaching on finance?
So one of the things with the mindset piece of it is there's components of what are our values in life. And I know we think, well, we all have values. Yeah, I have my values. Okay, what are your top 5? Just knowing that and being really aligned with your top 5 also puts you in alignment with who you're speaking to. Because if they're not in alignment with you, right, you don't have the same values as your financial person, they're going to make different decisions for you.
Right.
If you let them make the decisions for you. And then that's why a lot of people end up in regret. So that's one component.
So you ask your client, and your client will say, family, homes, or whatever, the things that they
value.
their emotional values of.
So for me, it's like love. Everything gets to be heart-centered. I don't do things that are not heart-centered because it doesn't jive with me. I'm, especially women, we're very emotional beings, and most of us have been taught that there's no emotion in money. And in reality let's speak to that. A ton of emotions. And so that lends to other part of the mindset is that it's possible, we are worthy. We do get to know, and we get to know what are the stories that we're telling ourselves consciously or subconsciously that are getting in our way. And as you start to peel, like they say, the layers of the onion away, you are able, it's kind of like, you have this negative thing here. Once that peels away, you can put the positive. You get to put the positive information of what's possible for you.
So when you say the negative things, I'm just going to throw this out. Money doesn't grow on trees. Your parents told you. So you're like, so be careful with it. You have to, all of that fear of, okay, if I spend the dollar, if I keep the thing, it's just confusion.
Changes your focus.
And fear. So that's something that you're saying, okay, that gets in your way. So let's look at your past relationship to what you've heard, not even you've experienced, but what you've heard through DNA about money.
Well, and it actually all starts usually between like birth and 7 to 8 years old. We've already formulated our thoughts because we've watched our parents, we've watched our grandparents, we've heard societalisms, like rich people are greedy. Well, do you want to be known as a greedy person? The answer is no. So your brain just tells you, okay, then it's not for you.
Yeah, that's a big one. I experienced that with my nieces, and one of them actually said that too, because they were so greedy, they were so spoiled. So when I saw what happened from her saying that, to translating into she didn't. She wasn't allowed to receive it because otherwise she would be called that. It was a moment for me, that aha moment. It's like, okay, so then I explained to my daughter, who was about 10 or 12 at the time, it doesn't have to equal spoiling. It is okay, but not. I had to like unpack all of that information that was spoken to her about being greedy and money being like one and one.
Yeah, and money doesn't define who you are, right? If you're not a good person and you have money, you're probably not going to make decisions that are like a person who's of a good heart would make, right? Like building a hospital, right? Building a library, doing a humanitarian work. It's very
She
different.
Angels Foundation. You want to give.
Exactly, you want to give.
Yes, and Rita is a She Angels Foundation member. Just to say, every episode we have a fabulous nonprofit called SheAngelsFoundation.org, and you should go there, look to become a member or to contribute, because the three of us, that is part of our impact in life. All the things that we do, all the wine and chocolate, and it's not all about money. It's about that's about heart and
Giving back.
How do we make the world a better place?
Well, I was going to, it's interesting when you say that most of our ideas about money are formulated by the time we're 7 or 8 years old, because I have a almost 7-year-old and a 12-year-old, and, their concepts of money are very unformed. And, the 6-year-old will say things like, oh, can you get me this? It's only $99. And I'll say, well, how much do you think our house cost? $100. Well, and so you want me to basically buy you something that costs as much as our house? So he's, and then he knows, because he's always put any money anyone's ever given him, any change he's ever gotten, in his little piggy bank. And so he has $37 in there. And so, he's like, can I get that for myself? I'll use my own money. I have $37. But he doesn't really understand what anything costs at all. And so to try to explain is a very difficult process.
I have a great, so I'm all about resources, because I always, you should teach the kids, you should teach this, and I really am going to stand firm with the women, moms of the world, and business owners. So for children, there's a really good book called How to Make Your Kid a Money Genius by Beth Kobliner.
Okay.
And can we give that to our kid in their 20s?
No, I think it's beyond that. I think it's really for moms to start having different concepts, actually at
Little kids.
Preschool, elementary, mid, and high school. And so that's a great resource. And that's one of my things. Really, you can... after the cancer, I'm going to kind of take a step back for just a moment. When I had cancer and I realized, oh my gosh, we got financial cancer. Well, what is financial cancer? Well, what happens to most families is, like I said, the 53% bankruptcy.
Right.
Believe it or not, even though we all have health insurance today or are mandated to do that, right? The bankruptcy rate due to medical related has increased 10%. Right? It's at 63% now. So why? Well, why is because of the lack of education of what's out there for us, because a lot of the times we think it's out of reach. So we're not dreaming, we're not asking. So those are our key factors. And so for me, I was like, okay, I didn't get taught about money, not because our parents didn't want to teach us, they didn't know either.
Right.
And the world has been changing. So it really is up to us to figure it out. So I said, I'm going to figure it out. I was one of the first friends to get married, first gal to have a baby. So I did all the research of the wedding things and all the research of the kid things. I'm going to research about money and learn about it. I could have gone back to traditional school, but something in me just kept saying that wasn't the way. Because if I'm going to go learn the same way everybody else did and do the same thing and expect different results...
Right.
I see the smiles on your faces.
Yes.
What is that?
Insanity.
And we keep doing that. So for me, I did a little bit of what everybody thought was insane, and I started investing in myself, in courses with multimillionaires and billionaires, and took all these programs with the thought process and the mindset of, not that I want to be the millionaire or billionaire, I do. Because I know what I want to do with that money. I want to be a she angel. I want to change the world. So now What else do I want to do? I want to teach my kids. So those wealthy millionaires and billionaires, I want to talk to their financial professionals. What do they teach their family members? What are the conversations they're having with them when they had nothing,
Right.
or they were up and coming, like all of us are.
Self-made people.
Right.
What makes you self-made?
Right, and to level up. Because we all, I say we all have a level of financial intelligence. And financial intelligence is not IQ. It is about your confidence around your money and what you know around it. And so some of it might be like, we only have third grade level confidence. We know how to break and make change around money, but maybe not much more, because we haven't been taught
Right.
any of the other
You
principles.
get it, you give it. You get it, you give it. You work hard. Sometimes you don't. You give it to the government. You go like, okay, and you only get a small amount of it. And you look at it and you go like, how did that happen? And that's when you're young. That's the jobs that you start doing, and that becomes a vicious cycle, because then you have to pay for it. You get it, you give it, you got it. You know, it doesn't expand. You don't have time to expand. Sometimes you're just on the train that just moves you forward in not good.
That's why it's really important to explore different arenas, right? We don't want to, I have a thing where we say, you don't want to pay Uncle Sam more than his fair share, right? And wealthy people, they know how to do this. They know how to build their wealth, protect it, not pay more than their fair share, and then they teach their kids to do the same thing. That's why many business owners and entrepreneurs, their kids are business owners or entrepreneurs, and a lot of times they're going into jobs mostly for learning socialization skills, or maybe looking at a business that they want to do to understand it. So it's a very different perspective in, I got to go in and I got to make money.
Right.
That's the difference of leadership of money versus being led by money, right? So it's a big aha.
So break that down and touch leadership of money or being led by money.
Right? So the leadership of money is when somebody goes into a job to see how they can level up from it, right? And it will cover the bills, right? So, but it's how do we take it to the next step? Whereas most people, I'm going to go to be an employee because I got to pay the bills, because my bills are this and this is how much my job is, and I can just scrape by. But what happens if a life event happens?
You're screwed.
Yeah, you're SOL, right? Can I say that? We're SOL.
Yes.
Right? And so how do we implement things so that we aren't? What are wealthy people doing to protect it? What is available to us? So we start asking questions. And so when we start to ask questions, we're opening up our world. So most important is not to worry about what they're going to think about you, what is it going to look like, what are you going to sound like? Because I'm sure I sounded dumber than a doornail many a times. And I was at events where literally I became the question queen. This arm got tired of how many times it got up, and sometimes people got tired of it. But the reality was, I was there to learn. I was there to create a change, and I was there for me. I wasn't there for that person.
Right.
I was there for my children because I wanted to make a difference. I'm there for the future people that want to learn about this, that want to create change in their life and want to know more and want to move forward, so that I could create the program so that they could do that. Some free, some not, right? Depends on the level of commitment that people are ready to do. Because I believe everybody should be able to learn at least some basic principles before they move forward, and it's about, I say it's not about one elephant, the biting the elephant one bite at a time. It's about the baby food jar that we put in front of the baby. You don't give a baby food jar and a spoon to feed itself. You spoon feed it to them.
One baby step at a time, one baby
step,
food.
one baby bite at a time.
I know this is going to have to lead into a second episode, because here we are at, we're drinking wine.
We're at the 20-minute point.
We're at the 20-minute point, and this is, so we're going to go into a second episode, but we are going to ask a quick, well, first of all, we're drinking a little, it's called Sancerre wine, and it comes from the Loire Valley, and it's Loire Valley's expression of Sauvignon Blanc. Basically, all Sauvignon Blanc is all Sincere is Sauvignon Blanc. All Sauvignon Blanc is not Sincere.
Right.
That's the one thing I know about this wine. But it reminded me of Sincere, and we're having a sincere conversation about money. And so let's drink to that, and then let's go into our. Let's see us back next time. See you soon.
1016 Entertainment.